Throughout this world, your adventure begins. Build the mightiest army in the realm. Embrace your alliances and forge your strategy. Quest, gain tribute, hoard your power.
So if you had a boat, what would you call it?
Relation.
Why would you call it relation?
Because then I'd have a relationship.
Over the last couple of weeks, you've all managed to collectively earn 30,000 lifesaver trinkets, and to reward you, we released a sneak peek at the first section of Dockyard. Now if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Congratulations to DP Soul, who was the only player to guess the date correctly in the comments. You are a Splash Psychic. Up next is the Wrecking Ball Trinket 2, so once you've earned 15,000 of those, we'll release a video showcasing the second section of Dockyard. So get to it! Only 3,000 left to go. What would a dockyard be without its boats? Well, One Busted Barge is a feature of our next map, beached near the final objective. Over the next week, we're giving you the opportunity to give it a name. Leave a comment below with your best suggestion, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We'll be picking our 4 favourites from subscribed players tomorrow, and we'll let you vote for the final name over the weekend on Twitter. The winning entry will then be applied to the boat for Dockyard's release. Sadly, all good things must come to an end, and that also goes for our Fire in the Skies event too. You have until the 2nd of May to get as many of the trinkets as possible. That's only 1.5 weeks left, so quick, shoot all the people and blow up all of the objectives. Earlier this week, we put a hotfix live to tidy up a few edges of our previous update. Everything went smoothly, and we had another zero downtime update, which is awesome. If you'd like to check out the update notes for the release, a link is just below. Like to snipe in Dirty Bomb? Well, you need to check out Soundwave's montage called Aqua. The accuracy and amount of headshots they get is just epic. Last week, the most reported issues were ranked match balance, playing with friends, and hackers. For ranked match balance, we recently updated our matchmaking algorithm by removing bugs and improving features. The more players in ranked, the better balanced it'll be, so get in game. We're also looking at more improvements that we can make for the next ranked season, and we'll let you know once they're locked down. For playing with friends, you can team up and search together in ranked, but for more casual play, we'll be adding a party feature when casual matchmaking is ready to go live. And lastly, for hackers, please remember to report anyone in game that you're suspicious of. For now, we're continuing to work closely with Easy Anti-Cheat to improve our protection. Don't forget to comment below your suggestion for the name of the boat and dockyard. We'll only be considering names from subscribers, so hit this big button now. Yeah, boy! Get it? Boy?
Exponential cascade continuing throughout all Creo systems. Damage report unknown. Personnel-related collateral effects likely from most operational neural implants.
VR is meant to be social. Play with friends in the same room. More social. Coal Car Studio.
Hi, I'm John Bruscio from Arch Virtual, and today I'm going to show you a very quick tutorial on how to get started with Immerse Creator. I'm just going to go over some of the very basic fundamentals of getting started, so hopefully you can jump in and start creating things very quickly and easily. The first thing that you'll notice is that the login screen currently in our early access beta release takes a little while to get through, but if you hang on and just wait through it, eventually you'll load into the scene. It's because it's loading a bunch of assets that we have in our menu. We're going to be working on a solution that'll make that a little quicker. But the first thing you'll notice is if you're hanging on that entry scene and the Immerse Creator logo is there for a while, just wait it out and eventually it'll open, hopefully not too long. So the very first thing you see when you enter Immerse Creator is an empty scene, and there's a sun with a power button on the sun, so you can actually turn the sun off or turn the sun on, and you can rotate the sun around. So that is something you'll want to start working with at some point. That can be a lot of fun. You'll have a controller on your left hand. In this case, I'm going to be using the Rift. So we've got selected object. Any object that's selected is going to display position, rotation, and scale, along with an ID and a name for that selected object. Let's start with, we've got a series of high-level tools, and then a few different utilities, multiplayer utilities and settings button below that. And you'll also notice on the bottom we have containers. So containers work similar to layers in Photoshop. Everything that's on a container number is going to move and scale together. And then you can add new containers to have them working separately and isolated from the other containers. So for now, we're going to work in container 1. And I'll draw lines to begin with. So we've got the lines menu. You just use your right controller to point at it and use your index finger to pull the trigger to be able to select that. Now I've got a marker attached to my right controller now that I'm in lines mode. And I can change the color of that marker and go ahead and just index finger hold down and draw. So that will enable you to draw. And to move things around, there's the lower gripper button. So I think it's the side gripper on the Vive and the lower gripper in the Rift. And if I just click on one of those, click and hold one of them, I can move that container. Everything that's in that container is going to move around. So I can actually move things by going right and left and just kind of pulling things together. And then if I press and hold both of them, I scale. So it's pinch and zoom scale, very common sort of scaling system. So again, we just move with one, scale with two. So that can be kind of fun to work with lines. And everything in that container will scale and move together. So we've got shapes, and I can add any one of these primitive shapes. I'm going to go ahead and add a cube. Again, index finger on the trigger finger. If you just grab anywhere on the object, you can just move it around. Or you can point at these gizmos, and again, index finger, hold that down, and then you can scale, you can rotate, and you can move using the gizmos. And again, if I hold down that lower squeeze gripper trigger, there we'll be able to move everything together or scale everything together that's in that container. And again, if I go to container 2, let's make a new container. So now I've got container 2, and I make a new cube in this container. I'm going to only move that separate from container 1. So I can scale that separate from the other container. I can move it, and I can go back to container 1 anytime I want and go back to moving just those. So that's how shapes and containers work. Tags are like annotations, so you can basically leave a note for other people if you want to say, let's open a note, and let's just call this shape. And hit submit. And then if I close that, that'll appear. So I'm going to leave that over here. And if I log back in later and I just hover over that, I can see shape. And I can open it and I can edit that note again. I can move this panel around wherever I want. But that's basic annotation. So if you've built something and you just want to share a thought about what you were thinking when you were building something, you can just leave a note and people will know what you were thinking. So we've got... And you can hide all tags too. So if you've got a bunch of tags annotating your scene, you can just turn them all off if you'd like. So assets are pretty awesome. You can go and drill down. Apologize, the text is a little bit small on these. This is everything in Immerse Creator is a work in progress. So bear with us as we work through some of the various little UI challenges and ideas that we're working on. We've got a very ambitious roadmap and a lot of ideas for how to improve this. But right out of the gates, you'll be able to get started using the assets by clicking on these different categories. So let's say we want residential, and now here's all the options for residential. There's furniture, electronics, lighting, plumbing, cabinets. Let's say I want furniture, and I want just the chairs. So just the chairs. And here we have just residential furnishing chairs. And I can just point, and again, index finger, press down and hold that, and point it at the floor, and I go ahead and make that. Now this scale of this chair is big because I'm in container 1, which I had scaled up. So if you want to go, let's say container 3, I'll create a new one, and this is at 1:1 scale, and create one here. This is true scale. So if I want to just know what 1:1 scale is, and then I could go back to container 1 and kind of scale it down and get that to match so that we're at a consistent scale. But I can add any of these to my scene. So I can just grab a dining room table if I want, an office chair, and go from there. I should also note that the left joystick on the Oculus Rift enables me to rotate around. So I can make sure that I'm always facing my sensors, which is kind of important so that you're not breaking tracking. And the other thing is that the A button on the right control, I guess on either controller, if you press and hold, that it reveals a teleport preview. Very similar, simple and very common teleportation technique in VR. And then wherever we're pointing when we let go, we're going to move to. So I can point behind me to kind of teleport backwards, move around, rotate using the left joystick, and away we go. So that is assets, teleportation. If you want to turn your lasers on and off, that's just the B button on the Rift, and it's the very top button on the Vive. So you can just turn your lasers on or off. It's much easier to work with them on, I find. For materials, let's just make a couple of different cubes here, and I can duplicate a shape by pressing that button. Or I can delete individual shapes as well. So you can do that. Now let's go to materials, and we've got wood, we've got concrete, tiles, metal, carpets. We've got all different kinds of materials that you can choose from. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. I'll do a bunch of wood, and we'll do a concrete on that one. So you can just pick materials out that way. If you want to sample a material, so I want to get that material and I don't remember what it is, I can just say set material. I can pick it. Now I've got it on my controller, and then I can just use that from there on. So that's how materials work. To be able to save things, you go into the save menu and you can save your scene, click on that field, and then let's say I want to clear this out, and I'll just name this test A and submit, and then save, and now it's saved offline. There's two different ways you can save it. I'll actually go back into that in a second. I'm going to go first, skip ahead a little bit to the multiplayer menu. And if you see in multiplayer, there's enter multiplayer, and there's a current public sandbox passcode. So this is with our early access. This is subject to change, but for now we've got this public sandbox is 3431549, and then submit code. And now I've joined the public sandbox. So there's a disclaimer here just to let you know if other people are building, you can actually interfere with their work. So you want to make sure that if other people are working, maybe pick your own container to work in, or just work offline for a while if you want to come back and then save what you've created online. Or there are eventually maybe multiple passcodes for sandboxes you could enter. But for now, you could just hit OK. That'll go away. And let's just go ahead and create a cube again and another cube. So I guess just to complete the multiplayer, once you're logged in, you can pick your avatar type by just clicking on here. I've got a few different options. For this one, it displays a thumbnail picture. So if you actually go into your system files for the app in Steam, if you go into properties and then browse to your local files and you add a thumbnail to your user profile folder, that will appear as your name. And likewise, you'll find a credentials file in there. And if you change the name in the credentials file to your name, that will appear above your head in multiplayer. So that's how you change those. You've got a list of different visitors and a couple of settings. You can mute your microphone, or you can log in as admin if you have an admin code. To apply for your own passcode or to inquire about your own passcode, send an email to info@archvirtual.com. And we'll see about setting you up with your own passcode. So that's multiplayer. You can also change your detail color. So some of these avatars have a detail color that actually modulates based on the volume of your voice, so you can tell who's talking. You can change the color and you can change the finish. Some of them have finish. This is a very reflective avatar, which is kind of fun. All right, so back to saving. Now that I'm logged into multiplayer, if I hit save now and I go in here and I clear this, and let's call this again test, we'll call this one test B, and submit. Now you'll see I can save online or I can save offline. So I can save offline and that'll go into my my local files. So these are all my local files that I've saved to my local directory. These will not be shared online. These are all the ones that are saved with this public sandbox that we're in right now. So these are all different loads. I can load these up if I want to, just click on one of those and load it up. So for example, if I just hit hut and wait just a few seconds, there it is. Here's the hut. Kind of a crazy world here, but so that's how you load things up. And let's see. All right, so that's everything with the saver. Your local save files, you can find those similar to, again, I talked about drilling down to your local user profile folder, but you'll also find I think it's scene configurations folder, and inside of there you'll find a file for each one of your saves. If you want, you can share those scene configurations with anybody else that you'd like to be able to see those. We do have an Immerse Creator subreddit, and we would encourage you to share that scene file there if you'd like other people to check it out. You can save that there along with maybe take a screenshot. And we'd love to see what you guys are building, so feel free to share those, and you can share your scene files as well if you'd like. Totally optional. You definitely don't have to by any means. So utilities is, there's a tape measure in here, so you can actually create a new tape measure, and you can actually draw. I just created a measurement from 2 different vertices here. You can change to feet and inches or metrics. You can have vertex snapping if you want, otherwise freeform, and then you can go ahead and hide all of the measurements so that those are not visible in your scene. Settings are coming soon. And I believe that's it. So hopefully that's enough to get you started. Again, the very basics are the lower down trigger is going to move everything in a container. So in this case, that's all in one container. Both of them together are going to scale that container. I can add new containers. I can delete containers. I can duplicate a container if I'd like. You can create lines. One thing I didn't mention is straight edge lines. So you actually have an orthogonal straight edge line that you can actually create very straight lines with. Shapes, all different primitives, tags, assets, materials. You can save your files online or offline. You can log into multiplayer, change your avatar, utilities for measuring distances. And I believe that's it. And we'll look forward to seeing you, hopefully, inside of Immerse Creator. Thanks for watching.
We must band together
to protect our home
and work as a team to kill,
and kill.